Okay, Leo, let's get into your August 2020 reading. Happy birthday to those of you Leo suns. I hope you are having an amazing birthday season. And whatever kind of Leo you are, if you have a Leo moon, a Leo rising, or a stellium in Leo, or you're cross watching for a Leo friend or partner, I hope that you are really enjoying Leo season and just that things are going super well for you. My name is Kayleigh Jean. I do these readings for creatives, artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their personal growth. What am I even saying? Do I even know like my own intro? Like, do I even know it? I don't know. I normally just read for creative people and entrepreneurs and people who are working on just their own projects in life and really wanting to carve their own path. So those are the people I read for typically, although relationship stuff does tend to come through. You can use this reading, of course, for your sun, moon, or rising. Let's get into it. While I was tuning in for you, Leo, I saw a hand, and it almost had like a look, almost like a Da Vinci painting or something. It was like an old world kind of painting look, like the painting of a hand that was holding a scroll. So it feels to me like there's either some kind of focus on sacred knowledge, sacred understandings, something having to do perhaps with religious study or with maybe even a scroll in some ways can represent like a diploma, for example, or a certificate or something that you're completing. It could also represent writing in general. But overall, it gave me a very sacred feeling for you, Leo. So maybe if you're a Leo sun, or if you're just reflecting on the next year of your life for some reason, it could be about really having a clear purpose and a clear mission statement, either for yourself as an individual. I always think it's good to have that. And also for just your business or your team or your family, you know, having family goals, having business goals, having personal goals. All of that is really at the forefront, and I feel like there's a lot of purpose behind it. So definitely think about maybe writing some things down right now in the month of August. Really think about where you are now and what your vision is for your future and for the broader future that you want to see, you know, and how you fit into that. Because there is really a strong sense of like spiritual energies being beside you. When I think about that image that came through in the meditation, it feels to me like there's a sense of you really being supported and supported by just a very divine energy. That's kind of what I get. So maybe you have a sense of peace with what you're doing, Leo. I'm not totally sure, but in general, it feels like there's just a lot of knowledge that's possible for you. Spiritual knowledge, and actually wisdom is probably the better word than knowledge for the way that this vibration feels to me. So you're wiser, you've lived another year, you are on planet Earth, you're just here taking a breath and a pause to think about where you want to go using your new wisdom. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. Leo, guidance for Leos. Okay. Feels like this bottom one, actually. All right, let's take a look. So we've got zebra, crossed by the earthworm. Wow, so this is a really fun energy. I'm so excited for you, Leo. This is a very, very fun energy for you this month. So The zebra card has a lot to do with just being eccentric and different. And if you have this deck, I highly recommend it. It's called the Animal Spirit Oracle deck. The zebra card is all about a personality that maybe has something really different, really outside of the norm, really outside of the mainstream, maybe foreign as well, having to do with travel. It can represent you, or it can represent somebody that is coming into your life, just in general, speaking about the card. That is just very free spirited and free thinking and has a certain creative spark to them that is very endearing and charismatic. And this path card coming up for you, as you know, your journey in August is all about embracing your individuality, which is something that's not hard for a Leo to do. I mean, come on. You guys are the sun. So definitely that is not that hard for you to do. But, you know, in some cases, though, it can be difficult because you do have the earthworm as the influence card. So the earthworm can come up when we're feeling kind of insecure because maybe we don't have a lot of experience yet with something. It's kind of like the entry level, you know, I'm the, what's the word? For somebody who is like an unpaid intern kind of thing, like somebody who's just starting out and they're just really excited to be part of something, but they're kind of just, you know, fresh to it. And so you can kind of feel like, oh, you know, do I belong here? Am I, you know, accepted here? But the zebra card is saying, like, absolutely, you're going to be loved in this environment. Whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, even if it's super, super different, Leo, I think it's important for you to go for it right now because you have to embrace your individuality and have fun with it. You know, this is about you being playful with life. And that is an energy we could definitely use more of right now. I'm just going to say that. There is definitely a lack, I would say, in the collective astral consciousness of just lightheartedness and comedy and levity, right? So I think, you know, it's important for you to embrace this side of yourself and to be genuinely you, to be unique, to be weird, and to just allow that, you know, to be your self-expression. So let's take a look at your cards and we'll get some more concrete, potentially predictive energies. So we've got Emperor, Page of Cups, Death card, and Temperance for the second week. We've got Knight of Swords and the Lovers. And we've got King of Cups and Knight of Cups at the end of the month. Interesting. So one of the things that I get here in the first week of August is with the Emperor and the Page of Cups. This feels to me like a little bit of a clash between something that's established in your life and something that's really new and fresh and emotional and intuitive. And so there is a sense of, like, you know, the Emperor, it's kind of the conservator kind of energy. It's, you know, let's stick to, you know, this way of doing things, and this is what works. And, you know, there is a value in that. You know, there's a value to having kind of like a very grounded view of reality, right? The Emperor likes to make changes slowly. He strikes me as the type of person that would rather kind of take things step by step and follow a plan, as opposed to kind of being like super out there and thinking outside of the box and making changes just on the fly. Both of those perspectives and attitudes are necessary, but they're necessary in different ways and at different times most often. So, you know, the fully integrated personality finds a way to have and utilize symbolize both of these kind of inner structures, right? If the attitude of the Emperor is sort of like an autonomous psychological system within our psyche, and the Page of Cups kind of represents another autonomous psychological vivacious kind of energy pattern within our psyche, which we could call maybe like the inner child. It's about like balancing between the two and really incorporating both. And as I've said before, this is something Carl Jung talked about a lot, which is that he felt that true individuation didn't happen until like a person had years of experience as an adult facing the adult issues of life and kind of like hardcore adulting, as we would say in like modern lingo, but then learn to like reincorporate their playful childhood self into that kind of responsible, dedicated adult energy. So this time period in the first week of the month, I feel is really about you embracing your playful side more, and at the same time honoring the Emperor energy that works for you. Some of you could experience maybe like something like a suggestion from somebody who is maybe younger than you or who has less experience than you, or maybe you just have a new idea coming to you. And it's about really finding out where that idea can fit in a pragmatic way into your life so that you can still be the responsible emperor, right? The sovereign of your own life, but you're also making space for spontaneity and creativity and fun and joy, and really embracing your kind of truth in that regard as well. And the second week of August comes out with the Death card and the Temperance card. So this is cards 13 and 14, so there is kind of like a logical progression here that we're seeing. The Death card represents this kind of inevitable shift or an inevitable change in our lives, right? And Temperance is sort of what happens after that, if that makes sense. So it's really interesting to see these cards together, because a lot of times what I do in my work with clients is I look at the year cards, right, that people have that they're experiencing for that year. And the Death year, from my professional experience of thousands of readings, where almost all of them I have done this calculation, the Death year almost always involves some kind of big shift or big sacrifice in the person's life that they usually go into consciously and choose it. But sometimes it can also happen, from the outside, like something unexpected. It's not usually a death in the family. Like, that's not really that common as far as like what the Death year represents. It's usually more of a major letting go of a prior persona that the person has. Maybe if they've been in a tense relationship for a long, long time and identified as a husband or a wife, for many years, the Death year could mean they actually realize that it's in their best interest, in everybody's best interest, to actually divorce, so that can be kind of a theme that happens in the Death year. Or, you could be in your Death year and get pregnant for the first time and become a parent, right? And that's a huge life shift. You completely lose your old self and you actually become someone totally different. I think any parent can agree with me, even though I don't have that experience. That's what I hear from people, and I'm sure it's true. That it's a very transformative experience. So kind of the death of an old version of the self, where you don't have to take care of anyone besides yourself, and you take on all these new responsibilities, and that changes you. But then the Temperance year comes in and you realize how to play with that energy. Like, the Temperance energy is kind of a moment of like peace and presence, which then results in a more playful instinct. Because whatever the drama is of the Death card, whether it was divorce or losing a job, leaving a job, speaking out about something that's unpopular, there's so many things that people, do that changes their life. The Temperance card is kind of that next phase after the rubble and the smoke clears and you are present and you have all of this free space. You have all of this free space where you can become whatever you want to become. You can become more than you ever imagined. And it's because those walls have been broken down, like in the Tower card. It's like that. Those walls have been blasted through, and now you just have the space. So in that space, you begin playing around, and you start experimenting with things. You get to begin anew. Oh my gosh, I just completely tripped out so hard just now, you guys, because you actually have your new moon. That totally makes sense, actually, because your new moon is on August 18th. So that's actually going to be with these cards. So the new moon in Leo, in your sign, on August 18th, you have the Lovers and the Knight of Swords coming up for that week, which is the third week. I'm sorry if I don't know if I was saying the third or the second, but it was the third week of August. And this is going to be a really powerful change, I think, for you. It could, for some of you, have to do with a romantic relationship. You might be walking away from a romantic relationship, perhaps if you're unhappy in the one that you're in. Don't worry about it if you're not, because then that doesn't apply to you. These are just general readings. But if you're not happy with the relationship that you're in, you could be heading for the hills, Some ways we could look at this too could be moving a business or moving your home with the Knight of Swords. It could also just relate to important conversations that you're having. So that's kind of what I see there in that new moon in Leo phase. It's you really are able to get things in motion at that time. And I think it's going to be surprising, the momentum that you can generate in that third week of August is going to be surprising to you, particularly if you're talking to the right people and having the right conversations, which is the Lovers card as well. It is about choice, the Lovers card too, and the consequences of our choices. But in this case, I think you're happy about the consequences. Now, the end of the month shows up with two water court cards. So with the King of Cups and the Knight of Cups, this could point to a Scorpio in your life. You may have a Scorpio person in your life sending you a important message or expressing something to you, Leo. You could have a Scorpio person in your life being somehow caring towards you in some way, because the Knight of Cups is an offering, and he's walking out of the King of Cups, which is the Scorpio energy, and then the Knight of Cups is the action. So it can be that you're having a beautiful reconnection or a beautiful conversation with a Scorpio person. You guys know I've talked about it so many times, but there is a powerful link between Scorpios and Leos, just in my experience. So there could be some kind of karmic healing going on between you and a Scorpio person at the end of the month. If this is more about you and your outlook on life, and you are showing up as the King of Cups energy, then this is about your emotional insight and your psychological and creative awareness that is spurring you to action, because you go from sitting down to moving, right? So something is kind of being put in motion for you at the end of the month, and that looks really good. So overall, I'm going to say this is a month where your emotions will be stirred, Leo, and it's important for you to express that in your unique way by being iconoclastic, by being individual, by being different and quirky and playful, and just finding the joy and the comedy of life even when life is kind of serious. Like, it is serious right now for all of us, okay? So I think it's important for you to, like, it's not about ignoring the serious stuff, like with the Emperor card, right? I said that. It's not about, like, shirking responsibilities. It's about knowing what your responsibilities actually are and then taking care of them in a lighthearted way. Recognizing that, well, it's just life. It's just dumb, stupid life. You know, anything that we are worried about, anything that we are getting so, like, alarmed and taking on the weight of the world and all these things, it's like, you know, like, there is a Zen approach that isn't about nihilism. It's not about shirking responsibility or not caring about people or anything like that, but it's about finding that, like, essence within yourself of oh yeah. It's just that. There's no word for it. There's no word for it, Leo. It's just that. Just let go and fall like a little waterfall. That's your Bob Ross message. I couldn't have written that better. You know, just let go and fall like a little waterfall. You've got all this water in your spread. Yeah, just go with it, Leo. Go with the flow. Release that resistance. That's when you find your true zest. That's when you find your true spirit. It's just letting go of all of that resistance. Woo! Your Destiny Oracle card is taking risks. That's so powerful. I love the way that this is illustrated. So yeah, it is important. You know, I think this is going to particularly come through in the second half of the month, you know, taking some risks, putting yourself out there, you know, speaking some truth, making something beautiful, uplifting people. You know, that's what it's all about, Leo. So I hope this reading has been helpful to you. I hope it is giving you something useful to think about. Happy birthday once again. Please let me know in the comments if you want to share. If you do have a Leo sun, when's your birthday? I'm really curious to know that. If you're Leo moon or Leo rising, you can also let me know that as well. Leaving comments and putting a thumbs up on this video is super helpful for my channel. It helps my channel to be showing up in YouTube's algorithm, so that's always a really great way to say thank you if you get something useful out of my readings. I'll put the links to all these decks below if you're interested. Sending you lots of love, Leo. Please take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you next time.